So one email, $550 in revenue from me, and it took me 20 minutes to think it out, plan it out, and schedule it. Most people do underestimate the power of an email if it's well timed, or it just happens to be a spaced out. You sent an email a little while ago, and maybe it's in between your next weekly email. You may find your engaged segment larger as well than usual. The engaged segment is scooping up those people who have recently opened or clicked an email. So if you want to even get sort of more bang for your buck with this kind of exercise and spending some time putting together a bit of a promo or a flash sale, send it 48 hours after your weekly email. Hey, welcome to Aussie Online Growing on Shopify. This is episode 159. One email equals $550 in revenue. That's what I want to chat with you today about. I sent one email and it got me $550 in revenue through my Shopify store that I can see attributed in my Klaviyo account. I want to tell you what the email is and encourage you to do something similar today or at least this week. If you have an e-commerce store, you're probably not sending enough emails and you may have some quick cash waiting for you for customers who are just kind of waiting for a reason to come and shop. So send an email today or tomorrow, plan it this week, spend 20 minutes deciding what to send, build the email and send it and see what result it gets. You may be surprised. I quickly scooped up $550 in revenue from one email. I could have absolutely got more revenue than that had I done my usual rollout that I do in my own account and my clients' Klaviyo accounts, where I send an email to different segments spaced over a week. I didn't do that in this case. This was a last minute email I threw together for an Australia Day promotion. So I did a promotion over the long weekend in January, a bit of a flash sale just for 4 days, and I just did one email. So I could have done far more, but just for doing that, it took me 20 minutes to decide what to do, get the coupon code automatically applied in Shopify. I didn't want customers to have to use the coupon code. The discount automatically applied, and it got them a special little flash sale promo, and it ended up with a revenue of $555 bump for me in that week. I was really happy with that. I was really stoked to see how many customers did order. And not surprisingly, because I do talk about this a lot on this podcast, I want to share with you who ordered and who ordered what and who ordered but didn't take up the offer. This is a bit of a follow-on maybe from last week's episode where I shared about the different promos and marketing incentives or marketing initiatives you should really be planning out for 2026, and how when I talk about promos, I'm not always talking about a sale. In this case, this is a sale. This email was a sale. But that's not what I talk about in episode 158. I'm talking about all the different marketing incentives you can do for this year to give people a reason to come to your website. This email was no different in the goal of why I was doing it. I really wanted to do a very small promotion. I'll tell you what the promo is. It's very small. The offer was very limited and tight. So it wasn't a flash sale store-wide. It wasn't going to cost me anything really to do this. But it was sort of, I guess, timely, and it just converted the people who need to be converted at the time. So my email list is got several thousands of people in it. My active profiles are several thousand. My engaged segment, though, is quite small. A couple of my clients, their engaged segments are larger than my own. I've got work to do this year on growing my engaged segment because it grows, but just a small amount. I want to get it to grow a lot faster. I'm gaining ground, but I'm not gaining ground fast enough. But nevertheless, my engaged segment's about 1,600 profiles. So that's how many profiles the email went to. But the email converted just those who needed to be converted, or just those who were ready to shop when they received the email, which is why these sorts of emails are so important to do throughout the year. And something you can easily do a couple of times a month if you're not doing something already, which is why I encourage you after this episode to go spend 20 minutes, do an email, do one now while you're listening to me, or plan one out for this week with something similar that just gives people a reason to come to your website for whatever it is that they are interested in buying at the time, whatever it is they may have been looking at previously and have been thinking about, and you just popping up in their inbox is the reminder that they needed to just go ahead and shop and finalize that purchase. And it may or may not be whatever it is you have as the offer. So one email, $550 in revenue from me, and it took me 20 minutes to think it out, plan it out, and schedule it. Most people do underestimate the power of an email, especially, like I said, if it's well timed or it just happens to be a spaced out. You sent an email a little while ago and maybe it's in between your next weekly email. You may find your engaged segment larger as well than usual. I shared this in another episode. I talked all about Klaviyo metrics. If you send this sort of email, maybe even a couple of days after your weekly email, it's quite likely your engaged segment is even larger than it usually is, because if you send an email every week to your engaged segment, the engaged segment is scooping up those people who've recently opened or clicked an email. So if you want to even get sort of more bang for your buck with this kind of exercise and spending some time putting together a bit of a promo or a flash sale, send it 48 hours after your weekly email rather than kind of replacing your weekly email. Kind of send it off the back of that, because you will probably find your engaged segment has crept up even higher. So you're sort of scooping up even more profiles with a special offer like this than you might ordinarily reach with a weekly email. This is what I did. This is the promotion I did. I actually just chose one product on my website and made it 50% off. Only one product, 50% off just for the long weekend. There wasn't a coupon code, so the discount automatically applied in the checkout for customers. That was actually it. I obviously could have done a whole lot more. It was a very small offer, like one product, 50% off. And the product is a sticker set, because I sell stickers and journaling supplies. I love stationery and crafty things. So the product was $9. It's $18 full price, and now it was $9. So it was very tiny priced product, a very small, targeted, narrow offer just for the weekend. I think it did well for a couple of reasons, but actually one of the reasons I think it did well is because it was kind of linked to the weekend. So it was an Australiana sticker set, which suited Australia Day long weekend. So if at all possible, when you do any kind of incentive like this, is there something in your product catalog that you have that suits the time of year or suits kind of what you might be sending at the time? It can kind of match it up. I think if you match it up, you've got a better chance of customers jumping on board with it than not. But however, that's even not that important. I want to share with you, because I had 5 orders from this email. So like I said, it wasn't groundbreaking. So 5 orders, $555 in revenue. But what struck me as great about this is a couple of things. What's the very next step in your marketing journey in growing your e-commerce store and finding new customers and converting them profitably? I encourage you to reach out to me for some one-on-one support. If you found your ads haven't worked in the past, top reasons I have seen with my own clients in why their ads stop working is a lack of creative diversity in the account, of exclusions and proper targeting, really helping Meta push to prospective users. And then ads that start to fatigue and circle the drain, that's when you find your costs start to skyrocket and you wonder what is going wrong in your account. When you run ads, your email marketing does better. When you do email marketing, it supports the money you are spending in advertising on Meta by ensuring that customers come back again and again, offsetting the cost you paid to Meta to get that customer for the first time. So there's no like crazy long retainer you have to sign up with me for. We can just work together for 1 month, and then you can decide if you want to continue working further or take back the reins and continue to DIY your marketing solution. And why reach out to me for support? Well, for my own e-commerce store, yes, I'm still running my own e-commerce store. And in 2025, my revenue is up 100%. I've doubled my revenue so far based off of 2024. The email marketing revenue I've had this year so far is 80% higher than it was for 2024. So I'm in a perfect position to support you in growing in your next steps. And let's really build out a robust, healthy campaign strategy that's going to see you succeeding long term. I encourage you to reach out to me. You can book a discovery call straight in my calendar. We can chat for 20 minutes about your business and the immediate next step you need to succeed in Meta Ads or in your email marketing. You can find me at Aussie Online Growing on Shopify.com.au. You can reach out to me just by booking a discovery call straight in my calendar. Let's chat for 20 minutes on Zoom and see how I can support you in winning to find new customers to grow your e-commerce store here in Australia next. Back to the episode. One is my average order value just for this promotion, this email, was over $100 because I had 5 customers who ordered like over $100 each. My usual average order value is about $65. So this kind of reflected an average order value way above what I normally get. So that was one thing I thought was super positive. The other thing was 3 customers took up the offer, but 2 didn't. So out of the 5 customers who placed an order from this email, 3 of them purchased the 50% off sticker set. 2 of them didn't even. They shopped for other stuff, which is another reason, which I share this a lot on this podcast too about email. It's just about being in someone's inbox at just the right time. So 2 of the customers didn't even take up the offer. So remember the offer, it was like a $9 sticker set. 2 of them didn't buy it. 3 of them did. But the 3 that did also bought $90 of other stuff. So nobody was just buying the $9 special offer sticker set that was 50% off down from $18 and checking out. The 5 people that did purchase from this email specifically, 2 of them didn't buy the product on sale at all. It was just a reason for them to come to the website and grab what they already wanted that was cute that they probably had on their wish list. 3 of them that did buy the 50% off special product, special promo, also purchased over $90 of other stuff, as well as the $9 special offer product. So do you see how the pros for doing this sort of small mini task or exercise or marketing incentive or promotion far outweigh any of the cons? And yeah, you could make a list of all the reasons why this seems like silly, like, okay, why just put one product on sale? Why is it so cheap? Why only one thing? Why not just a flash sale across the board? Why not do ads? Why not send follow-up emails? Of course, but don't get too caught up in the list of things you should have or could have done, and just go ahead and get something done. This is so important just to get it sorted. Like, just do it. Like I said, I only pulled this together. We were going on holiday, so we were away for the week, across the weekend with family. And I pulled it together, like I think the day before I left, I thought I should just do something for the long weekend. I know I've got a sticker set that's very Australiana focused. I'll just make it 50% off. I'll do an email. I did a cute graphic at the top with a text overlay, 50% off flash sale. No coupon required. It applied automatically at the checkout. The discount was there. And I just scheduled it to send when I was away. And the result is $550 in revenue, just like that, for 20 minutes of work that I would have ordinarily not gotten at all had I not decided to do something. So remember, the promotion that you do of any of these sorts of promotions I shared, that like I talked about in last week's episode as well, any of these promotions really equals just the reason for people to come to your website, because then they add other things to their cart. The cart will naturally build. And especially, like I said, my average order value just for this promotion was over $100 per customer. My normal average order value hovers around 65. So it was a significant lift in my average order value, as well as being very easy to accomplish and something that was a very small thing to do. If I think about kind of something you could do similarly in your own e-commerce store, I guess like something very small that's easy to implement that you might have hanging around with you already. Do you have second stock or sample stock? Do you have something you can put on half price? It's just one thing. Doesn't have to be a bestseller, but can it be seasonally focused? Can you leverage an existing product you have that you can kind of lean towards some seasonal time of year and make that 50% off? Can you do something deeper? Could you do 90% off? These are all things that are worth playing around with and like testing for real, and testing with other segments as well. So something you can do with your regular engaged segment. But then, of course, I encourage you to follow it up with other emails and other segments as well, which I would give myself that advice too if I'd thought about this a little bit before the long weekend happened. But like, do something rather than not. If you have not sent an email in the last 7 days, then hop off this podcast episode, go build an email and pull together some small promotion and send that in an email. Have you got something that's just landed that's come like back in stock that was out of stock? Something that's really popular that was out of stock that's now back in stock? Could you even put something on pre-order? That's a completely different scenario to this particular email promotion. But again, remember the theme of the email, the topic, the promotion, the reason, the contents of the offer is not even the whole story. It is just about reaching out to your customer base and your potential customers, existing customers, those who haven't even shopped yet, again and again, and giving them a reason to get to your website. Because remember as well, if they get to your website, they get scooped up into your meta ads as well. So people who opened this email, clicked on this email, headed to the website, but didn't buy anything, which was most people because only 5 people placed an order from this email, still end up then caught up in my ecosystem in other ways. They're now part of my engaged segment. Perhaps they weren't before and now they are. But then again, they're also now part of my Meta ads. Meta's probably reaching out and targeting them with ads, whereas maybe before, maybe a week ago, they hadn't seen anything from me. And now maybe a week later, they are seeing things from me. It offsets the cost of my new customers as well on Meta. So my sales were up massively on this weekend than a usual weekend. And that's something as well when I talk about data, and I've shared this, it's so important to remember with data, especially moving forward. Data is getting a lot grayer. There's a lot more privacy walls, privacy settings, VPNs. People are much more savvy now with the ads they see in their newsfeed and not being as easily identified by the big tech giants. That's just important to keep in mind so that you don't get too hung up on exactly what something a customer costs you on Meta and where they came from and how do they find you, because all of that is really grey and it can be very hard to sort of unravel that, and not even, I would say, not even worth your time to try and do so. What is worth your time is to look at the bigger picture. So yes, I got $550 of revenue from this email, but as well across my Shopify dashboard for the weekend, I didn't look at my total revenue. I think it was over $2,000 for the weekend, which is quite high for me. I often don't get a lot of revenue through the weekend. I get revenue Monday to Friday, typically more than the weekend. So I can see even from this email, this special offer, that it was also helping Meta reach more users. And I would argue that more people probably did come attributed to the email and came from Klaviyo or somehow connected with Klaviyo, but Meta has scooped up and got attribution for those sales through my ads, just because my ads performed better as well across the same period of time. So you really do need to look at these things together. So Klaviyo did well for the weekend, but Meta also did better than usual for me as well for the weekend, which tells me all in all, these things just work together really cohesively. Even I'll share with you a different thing. One of my clients, he has a bricks and mortar store. Actually, 2 of my clients have bricks and mortar stores as well as online. But one of my clients was sharing that he has a lot of people mention to him in store that they have seen him online. So they have seen his ads on Instagram or Facebook, and then they pop in and visit him in store. It's a similar sort of concept. I'm purely online, so I haven't got that sort of in-person feedback to kind of layer that over the top of the data as well. But please remember to do that for yourself. So if you send an email and you find maybe one customer buys, maybe Klaviyo tells you no one bought or whatever the case may be, but maybe your ads performed unusually well across the same period of time. Maybe you just got better Google traffic than you normally would. Like if you look at the picture holistically, can you see that there was a general lift in your sessions? Can you see there was a general lift in your add to carts and all sorts of stuff like that? All of that sort of data, kind of secondary data or supporting data, is really important to give you a clearer picture of how well all your marketing efforts are working together. And in my scenario, my Meta ads performed better than they normally would for a weekend across that weekend that I sent this email than I would normally expect them to perform over a weekend. So that for me tells me that it was kind of working hand in hand as well and getting me conversions through that way too. So if you can think about something you could do this week, what can you do this week that could be an email? If it was going to be worth $555 to you, would you spend the time to doing it? Yeah, probably. You probably would. If I told you that the next email you're going to send is going to have $1,000 attributed to it in Klaviyo, would you send an email tomorrow? Yes, you probably would. You'll probably find the time and spend some time and send an email. Craft an offer. Think about it as some sort of time-sensitive or seasonal offer that will, I think, help you get better traction. Send it to your engaged segment. Send it to some follow-up segments. Do an ad if you really want to as well for the offer as well. But if you knew that the next email you're going to send was going to have some revenue attached to it, and maybe you don't often get revenue from your email, what if you got the first $100 from your email come through if you sent an email tomorrow that you don't ordinarily see? Yeah, you would think it's worth your time. You absolutely would. If I equate the time it took me to do this promo and build it and then build the email around it, like $550 for 20 minutes of my time, like, of course, that's worth me doing. And you don't know the results you're going to get from some of these efforts until you do them. But when you do and you schedule out then some periodic ones throughout the year, like I have on my calendar, like I talk about in episode 158, then this is how it snowballs and starts to build on itself. And you start to see like consistent sales every day that come from Klaviyo or from Meta, from Google, from direct. They just come from who knows where, from your organic socials. But all of these different efforts start to really support each other, and you'll start to see a lift in your sessions, which means a lift in add to carts and initiate checkouts. E-commerce is very mathematical. It's a very mathematical game or exercise business. It's a very mathematical business. I find that personally really encouraging because it takes some of the emotion out of it for me. Like last week when I thought, should I send an email on the weekend? Who wants to see an email from me across the long weekend? Does anybody really care? That's one thing I could have told myself. I've already sent an email 2 days prior. Am I just pestering people now by sending another email? Is this offer even really worth it? Who even cares if I put one product on 50% off? It seems like such a waste of time. There's so many reasons we can tell ourselves, like, who wants to really hear from me? They're probably sick of getting my emails. I saw the email I sent 2 days prior had more unsubscribes than usual, and so I'm really down about that. We can talk ourselves out of all of these small marketing efforts, but I just encourage you to put that to the side and think about it practically and mathematically. If e-commerce is mathematical, your conversion rate is a mathematical equation, then just get more people to your website, get more sessions. You cannot expect an order every day in your e-commerce store if you don't have enough sessions to your website to begin with. And this is one of the ways of getting more traffic to your website. More traffic to your website equals more add to carts. And when you have more add to carts, more people initiate checkout. All of those steps along the way have drop-offs that are usual and expected. If I want to see 10 orders tomorrow, I don't know what I'd have to get in sessions. I have to work that out backwards. Then I need to be putting effort into getting people to the website. I need to get my sessions up. I know off the back of my sessions going up, I will get more add to carts, more initiate checkouts because I have a great pop-up. I have a great experience shopping online. I have a great average order value. I have a great in-cart upsell. I have a great post-purchase upsell. I have a couple of different apps. There's lots of things that kind of come into play to support the growing of my e-commerce store. Off the back of that, I have a post-purchase email flow that customers go through. All of that kind of foundational stuff is there, and it probably is there for you as well. You just need to drive more people to your website. You just need more eyeballs on your stuff, which is why I always suggest Meta Ads and Klaviyo work so well together hand in hand. And if you're looking to do one of those and you're not sure which one, if you have Klaviyo, dive into that for the next month. Get yourself that sort of built out with some flows and send a couple of emails. If all of that seems too much work to do for the end of January 2026, then just go and send an email this week. Put together an offer, a small offer, something easy that you don't even have to think too hard about, but do something rather than nothing. That's sort of the rant. That's sort of my message from this episode. It's a bit of a short episode, a bit impromptu. It's not what I had planned to talk to you about today, but having got back from holiday and got all the orders sent out across the last week that we've been away. And I was interested to see how well the offer I did do for my flash sale. And like I said, it was a very small offer. I am well aware it was a very tiny, limited offer. It wasn't like a store-wide thing or anything like that where I could have expected to have seen a huge amount more revenue. But I didn't want to do that off the back of Black Friday, really not that long ago, on Christmas not that long ago. I'm really not looking to do another sale right now. We have to be careful, I think, not to train our customers to expect a sale. If you have sales too often, if you're always on sale, I think you'll regret it long term. And I don't want to kind of set that up for my customers long term. I like to do very small targeted offers and sales. Like I shared with you last week as well, like even giving away free things, which I'll do on a Facebook and YouTube Live. I'm doing one tomorrow night and I'll probably give something free away. Like those sorts of things are really fun to do and very cost effective to do. And I would argue have a really great bang for your buck, even more so maybe than doing a big site-wide sale where you honestly just strip away all the profits you would have ordinarily made. Do something smaller and targeted. Feel confident you can just lean on one piece of inventory or some samples and just get them moving. Create a reason around it, a promo around it, and use ChatGPT to give you ideas of how you could leverage that product for a seasonal promotion and build an email and send it out. It's honestly worth 20 minutes of your time. It was worth 20 minutes of my time for a $550 revenue email through Klaviyo. So I was really stoked with that. I wanted to share it with you today and encourage you to go do so today. If you haven't sent an email in a week, if you sent one a couple of days ago, like I said, go do it anyway, because your engaged segment will now be larger. Now that you've probably sent your weekly email, you can expect your engagement segment to be slightly bigger than you would ordinarily see. So even more reason to go ahead and do another email, and let me know how the results. I'd love to know how you go and if you find it worthwhile and if you get some great revenue off the back of it and what offer you pull together. I'd be stoked to know. It sounds really cool. Thanks for hanging out with me today and listening in. As always, hey, we are the captains of our ship in growing our e-commerce stores. Like, keep learning, keep growing, keep trying new things, keep leaning into what's worked previously. Don't reinvent the wheel all the time. Lean into something that worked for you last year and go ahead and duplicate it and implement it all over again. Let's just get ourselves into a good rhythm and good momentum for 2026. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you next time at Aussie Online Growing on Shopify. As always, guys, hey, keep learning.